Good afternoon. We are going to start the session on Stream 6, Advancing Green Technologies, Circular Economy Models and Digital Solutions, Harnessing AI for Climate Resilience. So according to the schedule, I am supposed to give an introductory remarks by first. Okay. So we are talking about climate change, which is a big crisis for us. The crisis always brings opportunities as well. And that's why you are talking about green technologies, circular economy, digital solutions, etc. And if there was no crisis, no energy to deviate from the business as usual scenario. So whenever there is a challenge, there are opportunities, and particularly for the younger generation. So I'm very happy that this session is mainly focused on the young scholars and also for the researchers or young scholars from Global South. So for various different solutions, we always look at the Global North. We think all the solutions are in the North. But in the South also we have a lot of knowledge, indigenous knowledge, new knowledge generation, etc. So it's very good that we'll have the opportunity to listen from young researchers from Global South on different aspects of green technology, circular economy, digital solution, etc. So there are a lot of solutions, but the important thing is that whatever we propose, whatever we do, it has to be sustainable. And instead of creating new challenges, it will provide us solutions. That's why we are trying to move into green technologies, mainly aiming at reducing emission, particularly greenhouse gas emissions. Circular economy, instead of that, what we do is take, make, waste. So we have to come out of that model, and that's why we are talking about this 3R or even 4R models. And these digital solutions and AI bringing new opportunities for us, particularly when we talk about climate change, climate modeling. We need to deal with large data. Also, we need to collect a lot of monitoring data. Digital solutions and AI can help us significantly, particularly making predictions about the future, making models of different trends of climate change, etc. So we'll hear from the presenters, about 8 presenters on different aspects of these particular solutions. So I think for the online presenters, they are connected already? Okay. So and they are ready to present. Okay. So shall we start from presenter number 3? Aliou Kaira Diallo from Ghana, and the presentation topic is study on access to green skills for adolescent and young people in Cameroon. So may I request Aliou to start your presentation, please? And your time is 8 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khalid. I'll try to share my screen. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm very happy to take part for this international conference to combat climate change negative effects. So we have conducted this research with UNICEF in Cameroon. So currently I'm in Ghana, but this research uh, has been undertaken in Cameroon for young people and adolescents. So the context is the climate change disrupts ecosystem economies in Cameroon. Youths are more among the most vulnerable yet the most capable of leading the ecological transition. Green scale development is the key for employability and resilience. Study aligns with UNICEF agenda, which is a YOMA, and to support young people and children how they can fight against climate change effect to teach them uh, to to get more skills about this climate change uh, concept. So for our general objective, we want to strengthen green skill acquisition among young adolescent and young people in Cameroon for specific objectives. We want to improve the access to practical training in green skill building, teacher capacity to and provide teaching tools, promote community engagement through environment clubs, support youth-led innovations, and access to finance. So we have conducted this research in the northern part of Cameroon, which is the Sahel regions. The temperature is very high, uh, and Gahundere, which is Adamawa region. So and Yaoundé, the capital city of Cameroon. The data collection, we collected that data from 468 youths, 58 teachers, and 20 policymakers. So it include ministries, directions, general directorate of Cameroon, which are responsible for education, entrepreneurship, and professional training and professional support. For the methodology, the methodology that we have chosen for this research is a mixed method. We combine quantitative and qualitative approach. So for the quantitative, we have collected data from 468 young people and adolescents with the age from 14 to 80 years old, and the qualitative. So we made some interview with teachers and policymakers in Cameroon. So we use descriptive statistic and logic model for regressions using Bytestata. The key finding that we got for this research, we had 24% of respondents had prior experience with green skills in Cameroon northern part and Adamawa region. The top interest is sustainable agriculture because most of the African countries, the primary sector is agriculture. So that's why people, they want to work in this field. So also after this sustainable agriculture, we got also recycling because we have a lot of waste how to recycling to use this waste for maybe to produce some artisanal tools or to produce other things that can be benefit for the populations and solar energy because Africa also has a lot of challenge about energy supply. So the limited practical opportunity despite strong motivations because they don't have lot of support from government and a private sector or founders that can help them to undertake these green skills activities. So the main challenge that we have got in this research is the lack of material from the teachers, limited funding, insufficient teacher trainings because we have to train also the teacher so they can teach the student about green skills, how they can get skills and enough knowledge to be more skilled about this field. So about our logis regression, what we have gotten is the significant factor is residencies, knowledge, experience, and training. So because we know in the north part of Cameroon, the young people there are very motivated. That's why we got a significant uh, uh, significant for this factor, residence factor, and the knowledge and experience. If the youth are taking part of the activity association or movement in the climate change field, they can be very motivated to be uh, entrepreneurs and to start work on this field. Also, they need also the training that have been mentioned by also teachers, lecturers, and young people. So the gender education level are not significant. They don't affect this green skills field. The green job engagement driving more exposure and skills than by demographic. The ministries highlighted strong put interest but limited resources because there are lack of resources because of many crises in the world, wars, and other factors that are affecting many donors to provide a lot fund to support this green skills activity. So we recommend to strengthen environmental clubs because any educations, secondary education in Cameroon has the club of environment club, climate change club, supervised by one of the lecturer or the teacher. Also promote the public-private partnership and green scale financing mechanism. Because when we have all the donors and the private sector who can support, maybe technically, financially, that young people to go through this field can be very helpful for them to have more skills and to implement to try to combat this climate change effect. For the conclusion and the recommendations, I try to summarize for my best because we have only 8 minutes, it's too small, so we can just try to put so what we can conclude and recommend to the authorities, government, donors, and private sector is to integrate green skills into the school curricula. So that procedure, process also we have started with the general inspectorate of secondary school. So they are trying. We give them a mission to evaluate the current curricula, how we can integrate that for the practical school. That's the more asked by teachers and students. Also strengthen teacher training and provide materials so that they can help them to be more effective to teach the student and the partners to develop this field. Facilitate also the access to finance for youth-led green enterprises and recognize and certify informal learning in green skills. Thank you so much. That's all what I want to present to you.
Thank you
For
very much,
education,
Diallo, for.
yeah.
Sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly. So shall I call you Mr. Diallo? That's fine.
I didn't answer, please. Could
Yeah.
you repeat, please?
No, just I was telling that if, excuse me if I pronounce your name incorrectly.
No, it's Aliu. You
Okay.
pronounce very well.
Yeah. So thank you very much for your interesting presentation, and I think I will go for the audience first. If you have any question, any one of you, and then from the panel, if anyone would like, of you would like to ask any question.
Okay. Hello. I'm Syed Zubair from the Department of Economics. Very interesting and I think very policy-based research. What I wanted to add would I think I want to recommend and which would
Yeah.
actually make your paper better. If we look
Yes.
into the broader development literature, there's a lot of literature on lack of funding and insufficient teacher training, etc. These are all
Mm-hmm.
well
Yeah.
documented. If you could try to analyze why these barriers persist, in Cameroon, and maybe in a political economy lens. Um, Another recommendation is you have a lot of research questions. It would be
Yeah.
better if you can focus on measurable questions, like you have this question on how to integrate green skills into curricula, but it's real in I skimmed through your paper, and it's only touched upon in your paper. So I would recommend if you could focus tightly on whatever measurable questions you can answer. And my question was, what was your sampling strategy for your,
Sampling strategy.
yes, your sampling strategy? How did you sample your respondents, your participants?
Okay. Thank you so much for this question. For the sampling strategy, we use uh, aléa- aléatoire et aléatoire sampling method. We use random sampling method.
Okay, okay, then it's fine, because
Yeah.
in the paper I
Yeah.
saw
We
you
use
wrote snow.
random. Yeah.
Yeah, in the
Random
paper
sampling
you
method.
wrote snowball sampling. Then that becomes a bit of a
Yeah.
problem
But we
with
are being focused.
external validity. So if you have snowball sampling, then it limits your external validity, and then you cannot say the whole policy is based on it's going to affect all of Cameroon or all adolescents of Cameroon. But great paper.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me read it. I'll pass it to the chair.
Thank you
Please.
so much for this recommendation.
Next question,
I will take it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Diallo, for your presentation. This is Muntasir Kamal from the Center for Policy Dialogue. Uh, as part of your recommendations, you mentioned that you wanted to recognize and certify informal learning. So can you shed some light on how you can probably do that? Because recognizing any sort of informal thing is a bit of a challenge from the policy context. So how can that
Okay,
be,
sir.
implemented in Cameroon? And maybe we can learn from you and maybe, replicate in our country. So yeah, that was my
Yeah.
question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. For informal learning, uh, I'm so sorry because the slide contains not a lot of information about all these things. We have collected also from Cameroon. They have a ministry of informal training and and development, something like that. So we have collected for in this ministry. They have many directories and directions. So we have been there and collected data from them, how they can teach people, how they use, what kind of methodology they use, what their challenges, what the problem they are facing. That why it's very important because we are the data that we have been collecting. UNICEF is not only targeting people who are in the school, but they are targeting all of the children and young people, adolescents. So when we advise only from schools, people and young people in the school, we don't go outside and collect information from others who are not in school. So that's why we recommend, so because this information learning skills in green skills and certify can help that those people who are out of school to be more informed, trained, and get skills now, so they can also be they can also enterprise to have more knowledge in this field. I'm so sorry, so if my English is not correct because I'm francophone. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Diallo. I have a related question for you. Like you mentioned about including these green skills in school curricula. Is there anything currently there in the school curricula there in Cameroon, or you are proposing something new to start with?
Yeah, they have it some kind of courses. So when you talk about geography, it's also talking about the environment. When you talk about science of life and health, also talk about brain skills. So we want from them now to integrate not only these uh, theoretical courses, but more practical. So the course that can help people, young people and adolescents, so they they can get more skills to enterprise in the future, because Africa is facing about the problem of unemployment. So they can get tools, skills, and to enterprise.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Diallo. Rasul. Okay, last question from Rasul.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Diallo. A very investigative approach of your research, which is very interesting. I just wanted to know if there is any specific qualitative data that you have found which can be worth mentioning. Like most of the data you have presented here, it's more likely quantitative, and you have shown a well in a decorated investigation, but have you found anything specifically which is not in your design but you found while doing your qualitative research?
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for that, because that's about the slide. But the paper that I provide, I sent, if you enter in that paper, you can see all the qualitative responses. So I got many information because I conduct interviews, focus groups with teachers, lecturers, and all those stakeholder policymakers in the ministries, and then so that qualitative data reveals so the lack of funding, the lack of materials is we got also, and the explanation about why we have that kind of problem. So is about also the lack of funding from the government and the donors that can help the people in the country to support them to, and the process also, because when even you have the international fund like for climate change. So the process to get these funds sometimes is very complicated for the countries. That's why sometimes they recommend also to how they can deal with this process to make more easier for the developing countries. So we got many results and informations inside about what we got with our quantitative result.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you,
Yes,
Mr.
yes.
Diallo. We are aware that the time allocated for presentation is very short, but we are sure that all this information will be included in your paper. So thank you very much for joining and presenting your research. Thank you so much.
I'm very happy also to take part. Thank you.
Okay, let's move to the next presentation, and this one will be by Shahriya Salim Oishi from Khulna University. And the topic is effect of regenerative agriculture on climate change mitigation for farmers in Khulna district. So Oishi, you can start your presentation. You can take up to 10 minutes for your presentation.
Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Shahriya Salim Oishi from Khulna University. Today I will be presenting my topic, effect of regenerative agriculture on climate change mitigation for farmers in Khulna district. We know today we are together here for a conference, a World Beyond Crisis Climate Solutions that work. So we know climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is a daily reality that is disrupting our livelihoods, food system and ecosystem across the world. So today we will talk about some possible opportunity that can help us to mitigate this. First of all, we need to know what regenerative agriculture is. So regenerative agriculture represents a transformative shift in farming practices, emphasizing the restoration of soil health, biodiversity, and ecosystem resilience. So this is a agricultural practice that help us to practices like no-till farming, cover cropping, agroforestry, crop rotation, and managed grazing, which aim to rebuild soiled organic matter, minimizing erosion and improve water retention. So the objective of my study is to investigate the role of regenerative agriculture in influencing climate resilience among farmers in Khulna district. So in literature review, we went through concept of regenerative agriculture, concept of climate change mitigation, and the linkage between climate change mitigation and regenerative agriculture. And the research gap was, there are so many studies regarding regenerative agriculture, but here we have see the difference between the adapter farmers and non-adapter farmers. So my study area was Koira Upazila of Khulna district, and the sampling unit was both the adapter and non-adapter of regenerative agriculture. And for sampling technique, I have used multi-stage sampling, and the farmers are selected randomly. And the sample size is 300 farmers. This is the study area and sample size. So here is the list of outcome variables. So my outcome variable is farmers' perspectives on climate change mitigation, and we have measured this through a score value, and there are some more explanatory variables. So in the part of methodology, we have tried to answer the question, how does regenerative agriculture affect climate change mitigation for farmers in Khulna district? So for this, as our outcome variable was farmers' perspective, so we tried to identify their perspective through Q methodology for the perception of climate change mitigation. After that, we got some value, and we standardized the value of climate change mitigation. And finally, we have applied endogenous switching regression analysis, which have helped us to see the difference. So in Q methodology, we had 34 statements which we described to the farmers, and they answer us in this scale from very strongly agree to very strongly disagree. So the statements was in 5 categories. First, the casual belief in climate change, then causes of climate change, then consequences of climate change, after that effects of climate change, and adaptation to climate change. So then the value, we have standardized this to see the effect endogenous switching regression model, and we standardize this in between 0 to 1. And after that, here comes the endogenous switching regression model, where we have a selection equation where we can see the 1 means the adapter farmers and the 0 is the non-adapter farmers. And then finally, we have tried to see the outcome. And finally, we have seen the treatment effect on untreated and the treated farmer. That means if the farmers, those who were adapting regenerative agriculture, if they did not adopt it, what would the situation, how much mitigation they would make? And the farmers who were not adapting the practices, if they did adopt it, then what would happen? So here is just the demographic information of farmers. Then in a bar chart, we have the effectiveness of regenerative agriculture in farmers from the data we collected from the farmers, then change in income through regenerative agriculture, and social attribute related, and then we had 5 category related Q methodology. We have seen the farmers how they are answering about those perception, and here is the figure 5 shows the casual belief in climate change. Then figure 6 is causes of climate change, then the consequences of climate change, effects of climate change, and adaptation of climate change. And this is our main regression result, where we can see the effect of regenerative agriculture on climate change mitigation. So we can see that for adapter, education has a significant effect on the regenerative agriculture, and farming land size and years of farming, times of receiving support, and then a number of farming members and climate change related training received. So here is the main result where we can see the difference. So this is the effect of adapting region on climate change mitigation. So here we can see first of all the decision stage where there are two parts, what happened to adopt and to not to adapt, and the treatment effect. So we can see for the adapter, those who adopted regenerative agriculture, their climate change mitigation is 0.620, and the adapter, if they did not adopted the practices of regenerative agriculture, it would be 0.525, and the percentage due to change of treatment is 18.10%. And the non-adapter farmer, those who are not currently adopting regenerative agriculture, so if they adopted regenerative agriculture, it would be 0.595, and as they are not adapting now, the value is 0.455. So there is a difference. So if they would adopted it, so the value of climate change mitigation would raise. So the findings is the empirical results from the ESR model confirm that regenerative agriculture significantly enhances climate change mitigation, which is very important for our life. Adapters achieve an average mitigation score of 0.620, while non-adapters scores 0.455. So the average treatment effect on treated was 0.095, which means 18.10% improvement, and the average treatment effect on the untreated was 0.140, which refers 30.80 potential gain. If they would adopted it, so that would be the potential gain. So in the perspective of different literature review, so we here comes with 3 recommendations. To maximize the climate change mitigation, it is essential to provide targeted training, demonstration projects, and financial incentives that encourages farmers to adopt regenerative practices. Since non-adapters stand to gain significantly, outreach programs should focus on these groups to increase adaptation rates and overall mitigation impact. The heterogeneity effect in adaptation outcomes suggests support programs should be tailored to specific farmers' profiles to improve effectively. Then extension services should engage larger landholders and farmers with more experience first, as they are more likely to adapt and influence other in the community. This is all about my presentation regarding the effect of regenerative agriculture on climate change mitigation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Oishi, for your nice presentation. Any question from the audience? Okay, to the panel. Who will start? Okay. Raisul, you can start.
So thank you very much. It's really interesting. I just wanted to know, most of the cases in these kind of studies, we select Koira or somewhat like that. Why is this? Is it because of the like climate change effect of very much affecting in Koira, or there are some other reason that can be considered as well?
We know that Koira is a place near Sundarban, which is a ecologically critical region. So the most of the people from Koira are dependent on Sundarban, so which is very crucial for our climate and many issues. And there are many organizations and farmers, and also from government, they are trying to understand the farmers that if they lays their dependency on Sundarban and try to work in the area they live. So that's why Koira is a potential place, and Koira is, you know, very disaster vulnerable. So people normally, there are so many NGOs and people working in Koira for their development, as they're in a vulnerable.
Oh, okay, I just wanted to add something more. Like, if we really consider shifting those people who are really dependent on the forest, for example, the forest dwellers, if we really want to change or shift their occupation, wouldn't it make it more effective for the Sundarban to be destructive, as they were more in concerned with agricultural practice? So this is what we see in like Shal forest in Madhupur, where we encourage the community for to be less dependent on the forest, and that what makes very difficult for the sal forest to be sustained. So do you think that would be also be a problem for this region?
That could be a problem, but visiting so many people in the Sundarban, that's is vulnerable for the biodiversity, and the climate change related issues are also affecting for this. So I think first of all, they are not actually, whatever we say, they are always want to go to the mangrove forest to collect different issues. So at least we can try to understand them, and there must be some problem, and when there will be problem, might be some other researcher or like me will find a solution for this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very important research, and there's a lot of potential, and I did a lot of debate with regenerative agriculture to enhance soil health and sequestration of carbon. So very interesting, very methodologically very strong. I few methodological questions I wanted to ask. That was you in your slides. I didn't get your full paper. So you had 34 questions on the Q methodology, and then you just moved on to a single continuous standardized mitigation score. I forgot the name. Sorry. So you have there. I want some more explanation on how you moved from 34 questions to one continuous score, as Q methodology is typically used to identify distinct viewpoints of people. And then how did you do that different, because you had like 4 categories, and then how you shifted from there to a single index? That's one of my question. Then you used instrumental variable, and I think it was climate change related training received.
Yes.
That was also a bit unclear to me, like was it use of one practice of climate change training, or was it multiple practices? And as you already know, you're a student of economics, because it's IV, you're using instrumental variable. This needs to be directly related to your adoption of regenerative agriculture, and cannot be related to, or cannot be related to the dependent variable. So there might be a bit debate on can there be a relationship between climate change related training received and mitigation score, right? So I think that you need to have some literature backing or some other statistical tests to fix that. Other than that, because I'm an economics guy, I really like strong methodologies, so that was very nice in the paper. Thank you. So the questions about IP and
Oh, okay, all right. I
you
will
moved from
answer.
Q
Okay.
to in.
See, there is a scale. Huh? So we have scored the value. So there was 34 statements. So the highest value can be 34 into 4 and the 34 into -4 in between that. So for that, for each value we had for each statement we had a value. Then that value in Stata we have standardized it in 0 to 1 as per the score. Then the standardized values comes in between 0 to 1 for each of the statements. Then with that value we take it as the outcome variable, and then we have run the endogenous switching regression model.
So that's what I'm saying. So you're taking 34 standardized questions,
Yes.
then you're making it into one index, right?
Yes.
If I'm not missing
Yes.
anything. So you need to check that. Can you do that with Q methodology? That's what I'm saying. So you need to check that with literature. Yeah.
All right.
Well, once again, I'm all about recommendations. So, so yeah, you mentioned, financially incentivizing farmers. What will be the tools? Because financially incentivizing farmers to adopt these practices has always been difficult, and access to finance has always been a challenge when it comes to, climate mitigation or adaptation. So, what will be the most appropriate tool in your, opinion, or as part of your research that you found?
For the regenerative agriculture practices, farmers mainly practices this around their homeland. So, if we made there something, there are different practices or tools that can be installed there to easier these practices. That will be rather than financial incentive directly, if we give them some instruments that will help them to cultivate more efficiently, that will be more effective.
So rather than a cash type support, you're looking more for a in-kind support.
Yes.
Or also I understand that also relates to technology, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, one question, Kushi.
Yes.
Like Dakov has a special kind of setting.
Yes.
You mentioned about disaster, salinity is another major issue. So to what extent this can be replicated in other parts? Because you have to come out with solutions which are replicable or scalable to other parts as well. So do you think it is possible?
Yes, it is possible, and it is also happening there. But the time I completed my study, that was in Paigasa and Koira region. So
Paigasa more or less similar setting.
yes, that's
so
why.
if you take it to other parts like say
Yes.
non-saline areas, do you think it is doable?
Yes, there is a project named Nobopallav, which is happening in Dakop, Koira region, also in Hakaluki Hao region. So that is already replicating, and I took the idea from a paper I have read in the newspaper. So then I went through regenerative agriculture and made a research on this.
One question related to incentive. We always find that incentive works, but motivation does not work. How to resolve this? Can we motivate them? Because the benefit is there.
Yes, actually, so in my statements, there was a question that do you think that we are we are responsible for our climate related issues, or God was responsible for this? So all of them just blindly say, we have nothing to do with this. God knows. I know when it will be raining or when it will not. So they're like very illiterate people and very hard to make them understand these issues. So it will take a lot of time, and I think young researchers like us, so there is lack of funding and so many things. Still we go there, we talk to them. So if we take it very seriously, the issue of climate change, then I think it is possible, but it will take some time.
No, thank you once again for your very exciting presentation. Thank you very much, Rishi.
Welcome.
Okay. You can stay here. The next presenter will be Ikena Okechukwu from Nigeria. Are you there online?
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, please start your presentation. You can stay use up to 10 minutes for your presentation.
Just to confirm, can you see my slide? Can you see my slide?
Yeah, we can see your presentation currently.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It's a truly pleasure to be here with you today at the Central Policy Dialogue Conference. So thank you for this opportunity. So today I'll be talking about the shift from fossil fuel to renewable energy and how that shift is affecting society and economics in developing countries.
Yeah, can
So
you
this
hold
is
on a minute,
based
please?
on-
We are trying to resolve the slide problem. We still cannot see your slides, so please hold on a minute.
Okay.
Can you see there in your, okay, now we can see it. Yeah, please start again.
Can you see my slide?
Yeah, if you can go to presentation mode and start. We can see your slide now.
Okay.
Is it?
Good morning, everyone. It's a truly a pleasure to be here with you today at the Central Policy Dialogue Conference. So today I'll be talking about the shift from fossil fuel to renewable energy and how that shifts I'm having issues with my slides.
I think the problem is at our end probably. So we are trying to resolve it. Sorry for the technical glitch. We are trying to resolve it. We can see you now, but not your slides.
But I don't know, me, I can see his slide.
So can you see it now?
Me, I can see it.
Yeah, we can see it now. Can you change it from there, or you are changing it from here? You can control. You can try.
Or maybe you can change it from. Maybe you can change it from there. I'm having issues actually.
Okay.
I can't even switch to the next slide if I'm discussing.
So they can't do it from here as well. No, he can't do it here. So you try changing one slide just for trial. It's not working?
It's not working.
Okay. So how to resolve it without slides? Or yeah, you can stop sharing and try to join again, disconnect and join again, and let's see if it works.
Yeah, Khalid, maybe you can try to check your technical things, because me, I can see it is slide.
Maybe I will just join again if that will work. Let me leave and join again.
আর কেউ আসছে নাকি না এই জয়েন করেছে? ওকে, দেখেন হয় কিনা। আর প্রেজেন্টাররা কি এই চারজনের বাইরে আর কেউ জয়েন করেছে বা উপস্থিত হয়েছে? তাহলে চারটাই আমাদের।
All right, I think it's now working. Can I present now?
Yeah, good. Yeah, go to presentation mode and start your present. Yeah.
All right.
Great.
All right, so good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to present. So my name is Ikeno Kechuku. I'm from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. So my topic will be on from fossil fuel to renewables, a socio-economic impact of energy transition in developing economy. So this is the presentation roadmap. We have the objectives of the paper, energy transition and process that must be taken for transition to renewable energy, global energy transition trends, adoption patterns, socio-economic impact, policy, barrier and challenges, case studies in Africa, South Asia, Latin America, and also plus regional lessons and synthesis, then conclusion and recommendation. So the objective is to analyze socio-economic implication, assess transition pattern, evaluate governance and financing, identify enabling factors, and highlight policy recommendations. So in terms of energy transition, there are core definitions, key drivers, policy alignments, and the reason why they are transition. So one of the reasons of transitioning is actually to reduce, the major reason is to actually reduce emission and fight climate change, and as well to also enhance energy security, cut fossil fuel dependence, and to drive green growth through jobs and sustainable development. So as I said, what are the processes that must be undertaken for the transition to renewable energy? What must we do for us to have a just transition from fossil to renewable energy? So we have the enhanced grid integration and flexibility, encourage research and development, also foster international cooperation, engage stakeholders, implement supportive policies, and as well raise awareness and education. So by implementing this process, we can be assured that we have a good just transition from fossils to renewable energy. And accelerating the global transition. So the transition is primarily driven by global climate goals, so including commitment under the Paris Agreement and COP28 targets, and as well renewables supplied approximately 30% of global electricity in 2023, marking a significant milestone. So we can see by the right, we can see a data from Statista of the generation of electricity worldwide from 1990 to 2024. We can see that how different renewables like the wind, the solar, and hydropower is being generated from 1990 to 2024. So say despite global growth, the transition remained concentrated, dominated largely by China, the US, and the European Union. So adoption strategies in emerging markets. So have the dual imperative, the decentralized solution, have the lower tariff, where competitive auction mechanism successfully driven by renewable markets like in India, in Brazil. Then we have the blended finance, and as well the innovative models like new concepts like agrivoltaics and floating solar and unlocking new potential, most in agriculture. So key agreement and financial instruments. So we have the global policy framework. We're talking about the Paris Agreement and NDC. Then we have the Green Climate Fund, and as well the green bond markets that I've talked about earlier. Then the trillion, that's the green bond market, that's the $1 trillion milestone, where the issuance of green bond has as well surpassed $1 trillion globally, creating a dedicated pool of sustainable capital. Then we have the de-risking investment, that's the carbon pricing mechanism, where you use to internalize cost of emission and de-risking renewable energy investment for private sector actors. Then they are attracting private capital. So all these are actually key agreement and financial instrument that has been used. These are policy investment that has been used in order to have a just transition from fossil fuel to renewable energy. So all these things are societal implications that must be met to have a just transition.
You are muted. Can you unmute, please? We cannot hear you.
So,
okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So, have the transition that renewable and the future for where the transition creates new green jobs in installation, manufacture, and maintenance, but requires careful planning to address potential losses in fossil fuels. So, from the graph by the right, you can see how different regions and the jobs being created based on this renewable energy. Like we have the bioenergy, the solar, the hydro, the wind, the geothermal, and the ocean. So financial benefit and equity framework, we have the reduced household costs, new income streams, protecting startups, and as well, this policy are in action. Examples include the India phase fossil fuel subsidy reform, directing funds towards clean energy, and South Africa dedicated just transition framework to manage coal phase out. So energy access as a catalyst for inclusion, we have closing the access gap, health and education, gender equity, scaling access, and local economic empowerment. So these are just the catalysts for just inclusion. So you can see that from the closing the access gap, so that 73 million worldwide still lack basic electricity access. This is from the IRENA data in 2022, hindering development process, and as well the scaling access as well, where we do the pay-as-you-go model in terms of this renewable energy, and as well also for vulnerable population. So resilience and sustainable local development. We have the strengthened resilience that decentralized renewables, especially solar and wind, are less susceptible to large-scale grid failures and enhance community resilience to climate shock, and as well economic boost that is being used in Kenya at the moment. Then better outcomes that is being used in Nigeria, where solar-powered clinics in Nigeria have ensured vaccine registration and reliable lighting for procedures, significantly reducing maternity mortality rates, and as well enhanced sustainability, where projects driven by community participation and ownership lead to greater local buy-in and long-term sustainability. So policy, governance, and investment for a global clean transition have the structural governance needed. They are addressing the investment gap. That's the critical 1 trillion investment gap must be closed by 2030 to meet global renewable energy target and deployment goals. Then the coherent policy and frameworks, where there should be clear regulatory frameworks and tailored incentives structured are essential to the risk project and drive private capital. They will have the persistent barriers where technical limitation, financial risks, institutional government, also weakness continue to hinder large-scale deployment. So these are the three dimensions of social policy, the three dimensions of social economic impact of energy transition. We have the economic dimension, we have the GDP growth, the jobs and investment needs. Then social dimension, we have the health. Then the policy dimension, where we have the governance, financing, and political economy. Technical issues.
We can't hear you anymore, Mr. Okechukwu.
Technical issues is still persisting.
Okay.
I'm having some technical issues.
Yeah, you are audible again. Okay. You can't change slide?
I can't change slide. Yes, that's the major concern, to change my slide.
Yeah. Try to finish without changing the slide, so we'll have to go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can talk through without changing the slide, that will be good.
So give me a minute, please.
Yeah, we have to move ahead, Mr. Okechukwu.
All right, sorry about that. I'm seriously having some technical issues on my own end.
What you can do without the slide, can you just finish your talk without the slides? Is it possible?
Okay.
Yeah. Please try to finish without the slides. Give us the conclusion and recommendation if any, and then we can stop.
Okay. All right, so in terms of designing effective policy frameworks and incentives, you have that's the risking of private capital, institutional stability, market competitiveness, and multi-level coordination. So in conclusion, we have that a renewable energy transition is fundamentally a catalyst for socio-economic transformation. So its success depends on smart policy as much as on clean technology. So policies must strategically align climate goals with national and regional development objectives, build inclusive, stable, and context-specific regulatory framework, which is the core imperative for accelerating deployment, and success hinges on continuous innovative finance, transparent governance, and sustained capacity building at all levels. So that is all for now. So thank you very much. I'm really, really sorry on the slides, like the technical issue I'm having. So I'm I really apologize for the issues I'm having based on changing the slide.
No, thank you so much, Mr. Okechukwu. Yeah, for your very interesting presentation on energy transition, which is one of the headway for climate change mitigation. So the floor is now open for questions from the audience, and then I will move to the panel. Okay, the panelists, please. You can start. Do you have any question?
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. It was very insightful. I'm just a little bit not confused. I just want to know about what kind of methodologies you have used for this paper. Thank you.
Did you hear the question?
Yes, I heard it.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the question. So the methodology was mainly a mixture of literature review and comparative analysis and a case study evaluation. Basically, we looked at existing research policy reports and real-world examples, particularly from countries like Nigeria, Kenya, and Chile, to understand what actually is working and what challenges remain. So I also relied on secondary data from credible sources like the IEA, the World Bank, and national policy document. Then I organized the findings around three key themes. For example, we have the policy frameworks, financing mechanism, and socio-economic impact. So these insights will be both evidence-based and practical for decision makers. So the idea wasn't just to crunch numbers, but to translate those insights into actionable strategies that align with local realities.
Okay, next. Yeah, please, Jawair, you can go ahead.
Thank you for your presentation, and it's very interesting that you successfully moved from what's now is purely technology and economic analysis to a more social equity debate. I have one recommendation and one question. So one recommendation is actually a question recommendation over Madam's question. That is, if you can make the review more systematic, like how you have excluded or included your case studies and your literature, that would actually make it more rigorous. And one question is, did you differentiate between different type of developing economies, let's say oil exporting Nigeria and energy importing Bangladesh? Like, I think that would be another interesting thing if you checked. Like, yes, thank you. That's all from me.
Yeah, I did early in the paper, like we actually differentiate between the China, the US, and the EU. That all these are just developed regions. So we highlighted that China contributed about 44% of total renewables investment, while Africa and the Middle East together was only 3.6% based on the paper. So we also go further by analyzing three major regional blocks. That's the Africa, South Asia, and Latin America, where emphasis on decentralized solutions like the pay-as-you-go model, mini-grids, and as well financing gaps and energy access challenges. Then in terms of Asia, the ambitious national target like large-scale auctions, but also supply chain dependency and climate vulnerability. Then in terms of Latin America, we also, for example, we talked about Brazil hydropower and Chile solar, but with political risks like Mexico policy reversal. So each region's socioeconomic impact, such as employment, income distribution, energy access, and resilience, are also treated in subsections of the paper. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Okuchukwu, for your presentation. While you were mentioning the socio-economic impacts, you mentioned three dimensions. One of them were policy dimension. And as part of that, you mentioned that this energy transition is going to have some impact on the political economy. Can you please elaborate on that a bit? Thank you.
All right. In terms of the political economy, like, each particular country and, for example, a region, let me use the Philippines, for example. They have their own policy in terms of energy transition. Not at the moment, not even all regions even accept the energy transition based on they have been using all these fossils for long, and they actually is like an economic value to them. So in terms of energy transition, there are policies that actually curtails all that. For example, when we talk about the Chile, like they have a policy where, in terms of using the fossil fuel, like they don't actually encourage, because of they have been using the fossil fuel for so long, and it actually gives them enough money in terms of economy. So in changing from fossil to renewables, like to have a negative impact on the economy. Just like, for example, in Nigeria, the same way, like in Nigeria, we have been focusing more on fossil fuel, crude oil and all that. So changing from that particular energy to renewable energy, it kind of crunches the economy of the country. So these are the policies that is being put in place to make sure that even as we are moving from a fossil energy to just transition, we have to make sure that the economy of the country is also checked, so it will not at the end crunch the economy of the country. So these are the things that is being considered. One, they actually bringing about all these policy framework in terms of transitioning from fossil energy to renewable energy.
Okay, thank you. Just I have one question for you. Like Nigeria is a kind of different situation because we have a lot of fossil fuel. Transitioning to renewable will be more challenging there in terms of like people's acceptance and other things. What do you see in other African countries apart from Nigeria? How they are moving ahead?
I didn't get your question, please.
I was trying to understand like the difference between the where the African countries are transitioning towards this renewable energy? Because Nigeria has a different kind of issue because they have a lot of fossil fuel. But in the other countries, other African countries, do you see any difference in terms of people's behavior or acceptance of renewable energy transition between Nigeria and
Okay,
other countries?
okay, in terms of Nigeria, like is renewable transition to renewable energy is something like in a baby stage at the moment where we are trying to say, okay, let's watch how this transition is going to be so it won't crunch our economy. Because like 90% of our economy is based on, exporting of crude oil, refining of crude oil and all that. So it's mainly based on fossil. So in terms of changing to transitioning to renewable energies, like it's still in a baby stage at the moment where there are actually some policies that is being put in place right now to say that, okay, that we shouldn't actually, like not like a full transition where we transition and actually the main source of the country's economy is being crunched. So that's where we are at the moment in Nigeria. So at the moment, like we are still actually adopting this strategy of transitioning to renewable energy, but most of the cities or majority of Nigeria still use fossil fuel in terms of our day-to-day, activities. Then in terms of Kenya, like for example, I use Kenya as a case study where there have been like there is what we call a solar grid. I think actually this solar grid actually create jobs there. So there's a solar grid where it's been implemented now in Kenya. We have the solar farm in Kenya and as well all these renewables, wind turbines and all that in Kenya. So they are actually implementing that already. But I think as a general one in Africa, this is still in a baby stage at the moment. So they are still actually understanding the benefits and, things actually, are still actually understanding the benefit of this and, how it's going to affect the economy, especially for those countries that have been using all these fossil fuel for a long time. Nigeria being a very good example.
Okay, thank you very much for bringing in all the perspectives about this energy transition. So thank you very much, Mr. Okechukwu, for your nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's move to probably the last presentation of the session. Dania Zakaria Sulaiman Altus from Jordan. Are you there, Dania?
Yeah, hello everyone.
Yeah, you can start your presentation.
We share my screen.
Yeah, we don't see your slides yet. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Can you see it now?
Yes, please start your presentation.
Okay, first things first. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dania Leptouche, an independent researcher and the founder of the EcoNawa initiative from Jordan. It is an honor to present our concept titled EcoNawa, Women-Led Circular Economy Solutions for Plastic Waste Reduction in Karak, Jordan. EcoNawa began as a small idea, but one rooted in a bigger question. How can women in vulnerable communities lead the circular economy from the ground up? The name EcoNawa comes from the Arabic word nawa, which means seed. It symbolizes the belief that sustainable change begins from small local roots, just like a seed that grows into a tree. Our initiative aims to plant those seeds of environmental responsibility across southern Jordan. Today, I'll take you on a short journey from a local challenge in Karak to a vision that connects environment, equity, and innovation. Karak, a governorate in southern Jordan, faces what I like to call a dual crisis. First, the plastic waste crisis. Jordan uses around 3 billion single-use plastic bags every year, and smaller cities like Karak carry a visible environmental burden. Second, the social crisis. Women's unemployment. More than 30% of women in Karak are unemployed, despite having the skills, creativity, and motivation to contribute to their communities. Econowa was created to turn this dual challenge into an opportunity to reduce plastic waste while empowering women to become active agents in the circular economy. Why Karak? Because it reflects the everyday reality of many small cities in Jordan, where environmental challenges and social challenges meet. In Karak, plastic waste is visible in daily life, while waste management services remain limited and mostly centralized in bigger cities. At the same time, many women are skilled and resourceful, yet they lack access to stable jobs or creative spaces to use their talents. So Econowa was created to connect these two realities, turning the plastic waste into opportunity and transforming women potential into green local solutions. Our vision is simple yet ambitious, to build a community-led circular economy that connects environmental protection with social equity. Econowa grew from my earlier community initiative named More Safer Bag, in Arabic أكياس أكثر أمان, which promoted biodegradable canvas bags to reduce plastic waste. That small pilot proved that local creativity can lead to real climate solutions. We now focus on three main objectives. First one, skill training. Training 10 to 12 women in sewing and eco-design. Second, production, creating 8,000 to 10,000 reusable bags each year, replacing about 100,000 plastic bags. And third one, community outreach, delivering 24 awareness workshops reaching more than 400 residents. Through these actions, Econowa links waste reduction with women's empowerment in measurable, tangible ways. Here's how the Econowa model works. We start with inputs, fabric scraps, and skill building. Then the process, women-led upcycling combined with community outreach. And finally, outputs, reusable bags, reduced plastic pollution, and sustainable income. It is a small cycle, but powerful one, where waste becomes value and women become agents of change. This model can later be replicated across other governorates or adapted for youth eco-enterprise. In practice, the model starts with comprehensive training between 120 and 150 hours of eco skills, sewing, finishing, and small business basics. We also focusing on cycling materials from textile factories to reduce waste streams. And finally, we ensure sustainable impact through local sales and awareness distribution, creating a continuous circular impact loop. This approach does not just train, it transforms. It gives women both skills and purpose. And Econowa goes beyond the production. We believe that real change happens when communities are aware and engaged. So we will conduct 24 workshops in school and public spaces, offering hands-on learning on sorting, reuse, and creative upcycling. These sessions promote not only environmental literacy, but also community ownership, making sustainability a shared value rather than an external project. Of course, innovation at the grassroots level comes with challenges. The first is limited funding for women-led green enterprises. Second, cheap plastics still dominate the market. Third, bureaucratic barriers slow down the registration of cooperatives. And finally, weak collaboration between public and private sectors limits scaling. Recognizing these barriers helps us target the right policy levers to unlock progress. Based on Econawa's lessons, we propose 5 key policy recommendations. First one, municipal support, providing in-kind assistance like workspace and utilities. Second, microgrants, targeted funding for women's eco-startups. Third, taxes, incentives, and eco-labeling for reusable products. Third, recycler inclusion, integrating informal recycler into national systems. And the last one, flexible donor funding, supporting multi-year pilots that allow models like Econowa to mature. These are not abstract policies. They are practical enablers that can help small initiatives grow into scalable climate solutions. To conclude, Econowa is an idea in motion. It is not yet our fully implemented project, but it offers a clear, scalable pathway for climate action that begins at the community level by empowering women, reducing plastic, and redefining circular economy practices. Econowa shows that small communities can lead big climate solutions. Thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions and reflections.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a very exciting presentation, and I'm sure there will be questions for you. So maybe you can start from Naima.
So thank you for the wonderful presentation and on a very different topic, plastic recycling and also the circular economy. I really liked the concept and it was very nicely articulated. I have a few I would say curiosity to know about the project that you are talking about. When you are talking about the skills of the women and you were saying that there is a you mentioned about the eco-labeling things and there is a lack of funding you also mentioned. So I'm just curious to know how you are planning or doing these things to get together and come to a solution for a circular economy. So there are 3 things.
Yeah.
Skilled manpower,
Yeah.
like women, and there is eco-labeling. So if I consider that eco-labeling would require some, some sort of process which you have to go through. And then you are saying that there is shortage of funding, which is the reality. So how you are thinking or doing it?
Thank you, Naima. That's a really insightful question. At this stage, Econowa is still a pilot concept, so our focus is on building the foundation, combining skills, production, and awareness. The way we are bringing these pieces together is through partnership and, let's say, participatory approach. We start by training women in very concrete, marketable skills, sewing, product finishing, and small business basics, and then link them with local markets through small eco shops and community events. That's where the idea of eco-labeling comes in. It helps us communicate the environmental and social value of each product, even if it is handmade and small scales. And for funding issue, we are following a hybrid model, part self-sustainable through sales and part through collaboration with municipalities and local NGOs that can offer spaces, utilities, or small grants. So it is not just financial sustainability we're after, but community sustainability, where the project belongs to the people who run it, not an external donor. In short, we are trying to show that even small local initiative can close the loop between skills, production, and impact. And that's what makes us circular in the truest, let's say, sense. And your last point was a very valid point, actually, because eco-labeling does require a formal process, and it can be costly or time-consuming, especially for small community initiatives like our initiative. So in such cases, we are approaching step by step. We are focusing, as I would say, on building internal quality standards, things like durabilities, material traceabilities, and clear labeling that explain the environmental benefits of each bag. This creates a foundation we can later align with national eco-labeling framework once funding and partnerships actually allow. So rather than waiting for full certification before acting, we are starting small but thinking structured, let's say structurally, okay, building credibility first and scaling the eco-labeling formally once the model proves sustainable.
Thank you, Ms. Dania, for your very clear and wonderful presentation. You mentioned cheap plastic as a major competition for the products that you're trying to produce. So I think as a mitigating tool, you mentioned tax incentive and eco-labeling, but those are all the supply side initiatives. So are you trying to do any sort of are you trying to take any sort of initiative that is going to affect the demand side? That means the consumers who are actually going to buy the eco-friendly bags, which are actually usually more expensive than their plastic counterparts. So two questions are here: whether the mechanisms that you mentioned, like tax incentives and eco labeling, are those enough to make your products more appealing, and whether you're doing anything to influence the demand side of the market. Thank you.
Thank you for this insightful question again. Actually, tax incentives and eco-labeling are mainly supply-side measures, and on their own, they can't shift behavior fast enough, especially when cheaper plastic is everywhere. So with EcoNawa, we are trying to influence the demand side in two ways. First, through awareness and behavior change activities. We run workshops and market day campaigns where people can actually see and touch the bags, understand the story behind them, and realize that buying one supports local women while protecting their environment. That emotional connection really matters. It turns a purchase into participation. Second one, we are using social pricing by selling part of the bags at a very low community price and distributing others through, let's say, awareness event or campaign. We make the first interaction easy. Once people experience the quality and a pride of using a local product, the habit tends to stay. So, no, to answer your question, supply side tools alone are not enough, indeed. But when we combine them with local storytelling, education, and smarter pricing, we start to see a genuine shift in demand and mindset, which is exactly what circular economy at the community level should look like. Thank you.
Thank you for your response.
Thank you for your presentation. Very interesting model, and I feel like models like this will help us fight climate change and global warming. One question I have, and I think it's a very common question, and you get this all the time, like how does this model of EcoNawa innovates or learns upon the mistakes or failures of other income generating environmental projects that has happened in the past? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this thoughtful, actually, question. You're right. Many income-generating environmental projects in the past struggled to sustain themselves once donor funding ended. We looked carefully at those lessons before designing actually EcoNawa proposal. Our innovation isn't in technology, it is in structure and mindset, actually. First, we are integrated economic viability and environmental action from day one, meaning that women didn't just receive a training, they produce, sell, and see real results within their own community. That keeps motivation and ownership high, which is very, very important. And the second thing is we built in monitoring, evaluation, and learning system, not as a donor requirement or the regulations, but also as a local tool. The women track their own production, income, and the number of plastic bags replaced. That feedback loops allow us to adapt quickly and avoid repeating earlier gaps in accountability. And finally, Ikinowa stays small by design, modular, flexible, and replaceable. Instead of scaling too fast, we'd rather grow slowly but sustainably, making sure each step works before expanding it. So, in short, we've learned from past models that success isn't just about funding, it is about community actually ownership, feedback, and acceptability. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It is really a very noble initiative to take to address the both of this major issue, single-use plastic as well as women empowerment. So, regarding the single-use plastic use, this is the same issue we are facing here in our country. The major problem with the single-use plastic is, we think, the behavioral shift, because we had these reusable bags before. We had this practice, but because of plastic being so cheap and so being so easy to carry, easy to get, it became our change in behavior. So is it really the problem in your context that the single-use plastic, is it the behavioral shift that make it difficult for using reusable bags, or the reusable bags, the lack of reusable bags in the market? So if it's behavioral shift, then how do you think that it will be a sustainable enterprise for the women if the behavior really shift towards reusable bags? Because then there will be a lot of other competitors in the market. So will it be a sustainable enterprise for the women as well then? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is really a valid point, and it is indeed here in Jordan as well. We face and we struggle on the same issue. As I said on my presentation, the cheap plastic also demand and dominate our market. Actually, it is the biggest challenge. It is not just the access; it is as well the behavior. People are used to convince free plastic bags at every shop, actually, everywhere, especially in my city, Al Karak. So far, Ikunawa, we approached with both short-term behavior knowledge and long-term sustainable thinking. In the short term, we make reusable bags visible, accessible, and emotionally meaningful. When people buy one directly from a woman in their own community and hear her story, it becomes more than just a bag. It becomes a story, actually. It becomes a statement. That personal connection helps re-anchor the habit that used to exist before plastics became cheap and normalized. Now, regarding the second part, what happens if the behavior truly shifts? Another enter the market, that's actually a positive outcome. It means the culture has changed. And Ikunawa is built to involve with the change. The women do not just sew bags, they gain eco-design and upcycling skills. So even if reusable bags become mainstream, they can move into other sustainable products, packaging, fabric recycling, or actually locally green crafts. In other words, our goal isn't to dominate the market. It is to plant a mindset, And once that mindset spreads, the women's enterprise can adapt and diversity. That's what makes it both socially and environmentally sustainable.
Okay, thank you very much, Dani. I have one last question about you mentioned about bureaucratic challenges. Why is that? Because this kind of initiative should be supported by the bureaucratic system. So what are the challenges you are facing from? Is it policy related or financing or any other issues? Can you expand a bit on that, please?
Can you please just repeat your question?
Yeah, you mentioned during your presentation, you mentioned about bureaucratic issues, that one of the challenges that you have identified in implementing this. So why is that happening? That was my question.
Okay. You mean there's any issues during the implementation?
Yeah, you mentioned one of the reasons is bureaucratic issues, or can you go back to your challenges on your slides?
Let me, yeah, just give me 1 second.
Okay.
This one, right?
Yeah, you mentioned bureaucratic barriers.
Yeah. Actually, yes, registration small women-led cooperatives or access formal markets can take months actually in disclosure participation. And as well coordination. Sometimes the public, private, and civil society sectors work in silos, which makes partnership slower than it should be. But the good thing that recognizing these barriers early has helped us design policy recommendation to address them, from municipal support to flexible donor funding and inclusive actually procurement policies. So the challenges are real, but they are also exactly what ECONOA was designed to help uncover and solve.
Okay, so thank you very much once again, Dania Zakaria, for your very interesting and novel approach. So I think this can be replicated, or this is a scalable solution for plastic pollution. This could be a scalable solution for plastic pollution in many countries. I think with this, we come to the end of the presentation of the session. Now I would like to request the panelists to make their comments. Maybe you can start with Naima.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a panelist here, and I saw the papers. These are really wonderful, and like some of them are really innovative in their approaches. I saw some of the presentations here, and some of them are really well articulated presentations, which I really didn't expect, but these are very nice way to communicate the research, and this is what we want. So these kind of platforms would really inspire the young researchers and researchers all around the world to come together and share their knowledge. So it's a very good platform to be here, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
First, let me congratulate all the presenters who made their presentations. I think we have seen papers, that are focusing on issues that are very close to us. So we have seen solutions that that are hitting on micro issue, or at the meso level, or also at the macro level, and sometimes even at the regional level. So the all stratas of the the policy domain has been covered, and some of the solutions that were proposed were very well articulated and very well it will be quite easy, or maybe very beneficial for us to replicate and maybe to scale up. So once again, I thank the presenters for their presentation and for giving us the ideas or coming up with the solutions that will be very useful for us as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, CPD, for making this happen, and thank you for the authors of the papers to giving me the opportunity to read it. All the topics were very inspiring and thought-provoking, and I feel this area of climate change is very near to my heart, and I'm very worried and actually, to be honest, very pessimistic about the future. But as I'm seeing all these researchers working really hard and spreading the knowledge and the policy implications of what to do and how to make a better future for our generation and for the next generation. So these type of papers and ideas are very important for this world now, and I thank the panelists and the authors for their outcomes, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank CPD for this opportunity to be here, for me to be here. And when we talk about the Global South and the innovations in Global South, this is what we see, the actual scenario of the field that came out in the researches, not just like in the for the Northern to implement more project-based or more scientific analysis. It is really important to replicate or to represent the actual field scenario from our Global South, and this is what we found, and I'm very grateful to be here and see such wonderful researches and presentation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Maybe the last 1 minute or 2 minutes comments from myself. So first of all, thanks to CPD for organizing this Climate Week and inviting me to chair this particular session. I would like to end with a note of expectation, not with pessimism, because when we have challenge, that we have opportunities, and we have seen what kind of innovative ideas can generate because of this kind of challenges, and particularly the young researchers. I think you are the future of this earth, sustaining this earth. So it has been wonderful sharing panel with the young people. I am not that young, but what we expect that the world will be a better for the future generations. That's what we work towards. Let's work for a better tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.